Text just come in about your next step. And we'll talk more about this probably later on, but you've said that you want to be the next Jason Statham or Vinnie Jones in the British movie business. So does that mean that you won't be attending acting school?
I will be. I want to be the best possible actor I can be, and to do that, just like anything else in life, you have to work and graft at it and train. You can't expect to, somebody couldn't expect to be a great boxer but in 6 months, just doing no training. You've got to work for years and years, and some people who've been doing it for 20 years are still studying. So I'm not arrogant enough to think I can just stroll up to a set and think I'll be the best actor in the world. So I'm going to dedicate myself the same way I did as a boxer. And one thing about myself is I was very dedicated and focused, and made sure I didn't cut any corners in training. And I'll have to take that same mindset into the acting world, and I will do.
Will it be hard to start at the bottom again, though?
No. I sort of relish the challenge, relish the opportunity to go into something that nobody knows what I'm about. I'm saying I'm going to be good, and just watch and see. And I like putting pressure on myself. It makes me go out there and work harder for it.
Yeah. Sam is on the line. Hi, Sam.
Hiya, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. You're in Cardiff. I think you want to talk to David about his thespian career, don't you?
Yes, I just want to get an idea. Because obviously next phase you're looking to do is acting, and there's been some great kind of boxing stories in the past with Will Smith in Ali and Robert De Niro in Raging Bull. So the question really I want to ask is, if you had the opportunity to kind of do a boxing movie on a famous boxer, who would you like to play?
That's a good one. Ali's already been taken by Will Smith. What other great fighters are there?
There aren't very many bad boxing movies around, are there? I saw The Fighter last year, which was fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
Great film.
I don't know.
Who could you be? Could you be Evander Holyfield?
Evander Holyfield, I wouldn't mind. Or maybe George Foreman, something like that. I'd have to bulk up a little bit for George.
Mike Tyson. There has to be a good backstory. There has to be more than boxing about it, and I think Tyson would be a good story to do.
Yeah,
get a tattoo over my face. That'd be really one in the park. That, wouldn't it?
If you were going to play George Foreman, who would you want playing Muhammad Ali up against you?
Will Smith. There's only one person who could play Ali, and that was Will Smith. For me, he should have won the Oscar for that. It was absolutely amazing what he did in Ali. Absolutely amazing. I actually forgot it was Will Smith halfway through the movie. I had to keep reminding myself, this is Will Smith playing, not Muhammad Ali. It's amazing. It's amazing what he did.
That is a very good sign. Gavin in Harrogate is with us. Hi, Gavin.
Hiya.
What's your question for David?
I just wanted to know whether or not what his thoughts were on when he fought Macronelli, and me being a fan of boxing and also a fan of David. I watched it and thought, oh, fantastic! He's done the result against Macronelli that most people wanted, and then the build up to the Klitschko fight. I thought, well, he's going to go in there and have a good result. To be quite honest with you, I don't know about anybody else that's perhaps calling in, but I was disappointed with the result. I thought when I watched it, it was an underprepared boxer. Didn't seem to have any idea as to how he was going to go about and fight and win. And just wanted to know his thoughts, really.
Yeah, however disappointed you was, believe me, I was 50,000 times more disappointed. I believe I was prepared. I trained harder than I've ever trained before. I was trained for 6 months, for that particular fight. I knew it was always going to be a hard task. It was always going to be awkward. Vladimir's never been the easiest guy to get to, so he may have given the illusion that I was underprepared, but believe me, I was. I did everything humanly possible in there, and I took some big shots. I landed a few, but not quite enough. And it was just a better man won on the night. And it's just I apologise if you felt shortchanged, but that's the way boxing works sometimes.
I wanted to ask you about your toe, David, because it's difficult, isn't it? Because I know that from reading the book, there've been times where you've said you don't make excuses. If you lose a fight, you don't make excuses because you're injured. But your toe was in a really bad way, wasn't it, before the fight? But did you deliberately choose to say, I'm not going to say anything about this in the build-up?
Whenever you're fighting, I've had injuries pretty much for all my fights, and the last thing you want to do is let it be known that you have an injury, because if you do, then your opponent's going to aim directly at it,
You come out and stamp on it.
Yeah, come straight out and stamp on it and make it worse. So you keep your cards close to your chest. And obviously after the fight, people wanted to know why I wasn't throwing my right hand as much. And during the fight, that was on my mind a lot. I couldn't quite do what I needed to do. I couldn't push off and explode. And it was just one of those things. It's one of those nightmare situations. It says in the book about how that's pretty much is my nightmare, being in a fight and sort of being like I'm fighting in treacle, where I'm sort of standing in mud and I can't quite explode and punch and not landing my punches, falling short. And
that's a recurring dream.
That's always been my recurring dream, and I ended up living it in the Vladimir fight, and that was really frustrating.
Because you actually had you were having painkilling injections all the time, weren't you?
Yeah.
You actually had to take your boot off. You were all set to go, and you had to take your boot off, have another injection and go back out again.
Yeah, it's one of those things, I've had local anaesthetics in many parts of my body before I fight, because once you're in the fight, your adrenaline normally takes over, and whatever injuries you have, the pain lessens maybe 70%, so you can deal with it. But it's just one of those things. I'm sure maybe Vladimir might have had an injury twice as bad as mine, for all I know, but he boxed the better fight on the night. He used his size and reach, and he did what he needed to do, and I couldn't adjust and do and close that gap like I trained to do, and like I know I can do. But it's pretty frustrating. But I've got to learn to sort of take a breath and just accept the result.
You see, in the book, David, it says that at one stage, close to the fight, in training, and this was Elliot, the author's view, that you were punching harder, louder, faster than ever before. 2 days before, you had a skipping session that was longer than anyone had ever seen. So you were managing to overcome it at that stage. So what happened in the ring, with all the adrenaline around as well? I would have thought that maybe you could have hidden the pain completely.
You'd think so. In the lead up to the fight, training was going great. I was punching hard. I was doing what I needed to do. But in the fight, on the way to the ring, it was the Klitschko's were pretty smart in the route they sent me to the ring. If you look at the way Vladimir came to the ring, he came to the ring through a gated. I
know they sent you around halfway around Hamburg.
They sent me through the crowd, literally.
Yeah.
And I was getting crushed by people on the way to the ring. It's pretty annoying. But even during that, I remember being smiling to myself and just trying to ignore it. Because normally I'd go mental, but I thought, okay, this is what his team are doing to try to unsettle me. So don't let it upset. He did, but I was like, don't let it unsettle you. Just keep listen to your song, keep singing that. And by the time I got to the ring, if you look at on my foot, I had these plastic shoes on that
because it was so wet.
And they sent me through the mud. Which he came through a nice dry, but they sent me through the mud on the way there. And obviously, that was off. I had someone. It's a long old. I could make 1,000,001 excuses for, why it happened, but it did. And whether my foot was 100% right, who knows what the result would have been. He might have done the same
listening
thing.
to that, the Klitschko's are known as the gentlemen of the sport, and yet this is what they put him through.
Maybe it was payback for all the stuff I was saying. Maybe it was payback for all the crap I said to him in the lead up to the fight.
Michael Vaughan is going to be with us after 8 o'clock with his special programme on pressure. Have you guys met before?
Just now in the corridor. Good to meet him.
Former England cricket captain Michael Vaughan, meet former world heavyweight boxing champion David Haye.
He's a bit bigger than me.
He is a bit. But we're going to be talking a bit about boxing, obviously, in the programme. It'd be interesting to get your views from David.
Well, generally, a sportsman's career is defined as whether they can cope with pressure or not. And that's what we're going to be discussing at 8 o'clock. With me is Floyd Woodrow, 23 years with the SAS, an elite performance specialist. And I know he relates to that, very similar to what a boxer goes through. In cricket, we might get hit by the ball, but really seriously, we're never going to get that badly hurt. In boxing, you guys can get seriously hurt, and Floyd relates to that in terms of combat as well, don't you, Floyd?
Yeah, I was an amateur boxer, and what I used to find is actually preparing for a fight, coming to the ring, stepping in, was as close to combat as I could get in terms of the preparation. But the mental preparation that I'd go through beforehand, again, was very similar. What types of mental preparation did you go through to make sure you were fully prepared? And also when you went through adversity, how are you again coming back around to perform as at the highest levels that you could?
Yeah, a lot of people talk about what they do mentally to gear up for a fight. But it's a strange situation for me because I've been competing since I was 10. So I've done that more than I've done anything else. I'm used to preparing for a fight from such an early age. There's always a fight around the corner. I'm always working towards a fight. And I used to get nervous up until I was probably 15 years old. But then after a while, I realised having nerves or getting jittery or shadow boxing or thinking about it, all that's going to do is use up vital energy that I can use in the fight. So I sort of tricked my brain into, as soon as I feel any type of nerves, to say to myself, the only thing having these nerves are going to do is make you lose the fight. So I kind of tricked myself into not having any nerves. It's a strange situation. Even when I walk into the ring, I don't feel anything. Well, I feel no more than I feel now. It's only till I get in the ring and the announcer says, "In the blue corner," that's only when I switch on then, because I realise, save all your adrenaline for the fight. I've seen so many boxers over the years lose fights before they actually get in the ring because they're so focused on the fight. They're thinking about the fight. No matter how much I think about the fight, the result's going to be what the result's going to be.
Exactly. But just
So why
touching on
stress about
what
it?
Michael was saying there, it's not necessarily the fear of getting hurt.
No, that's probably the last on the list of things. And when I go into the ring is getting hurt. That's, for some, it's a strange reason. Most normal, sane people would think, if you get in the ring, people have been put in comas, people have been killed in the ring. Aren't you nervous about dying? I'm like, no. If you're thinking about anything negative like that, you're gonna not perform how you want to. You need to be clear-minded. All you need to focus on is what you're going to do and how you're going to react to whatever your opponent puts in front of you.
And what about putting pressure on your opponent as well? I mean, you hinted at the build-up to the Klitschko fight and the things you said and the things you did, which, I mean, maybe I'll come back to that. But was that all designed to put pressure on them, to unsettle them?
I like putting pressure on my opponents. I also strangely like putting pressure on myself. I'll say I'm like certain fights, I'll knock him out in this round. I don't need to say that. I'm not getting paid anymore for knocking him out in that round. I can, unless someone bets on it. But I literally just put pressure on myself. I won't say I'm going to beat him on points. I'll say I'm going to knock him out. So even if I do win on points and a win's a win, I'll be disappointed in myself because I didn't do what I wanted to do. So I think the more pressure I put on myself, the more I'm forced to produce the goods on the night. And it seemed to have worked for 9 out of 10 of my fights. So I'm not sure. I wouldn't advise everyone to do that because you could end up looking stupid.